Hi, everybody, and welcome to the JSA Spotlight Sit-Down Series. I'm Jon Sheppard. Today, we're talking with Marc Landow, partner of Landow Landow Architects here in New York. Another great business, well-run for a long time. Marc, welcome to the channel.
Thanks, Jon. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thrilled to have you. I'm excited to have a great conversation today. Why don't you tell us a little bit certainly about you, but also about the company, because you have a very multi-generational story.
So we are a third-generation architecture, interior design, and planning firm. My grandfather started the firm in 1922 in Brooklyn. My father joined him in 1961. I joined the firm in 1991, and then my brother and sister joined shortly after I did, and the three of us now run the business.
Outstanding, outstanding. You've learned some great lessons through the last century, I'm sure. Never mind, just in the last number of years that the three of you have been running the business.
We have. I did not have the opportunity to work with my grandfather. Unfortunately, he passed away when I was 7 or 8 years old, but had the great pleasure and opportunity to work with my father for almost 17 years before he passed away about 8 years ago. And he taught me everything I know about this business. And I imagine that he learned most of what he learned from his father.
That's the way it happens. You know, it's like great teachers teach great students, and you guys are the students. So talk to us a little bit about the sweet spot for you, the projects that you guys are involved with right now, and those that you look to get involved with.
So in my mind, we're fortunate because we're in a number of different marketplaces. What gets me up in the morning is the variety of projects. I have friends that are accountants, and I love my friends that are accountants, but it's not the same taxes every time.
Correct.
Every project is different, every client is different, every budget is different. So we work on healthcare projects, and that's everything from hospitals and nursing homes, 40, 50, $60 million projects, down to private doctors' offices and everything in between. Educational projects, pre-K through 12, private school, college, and university. Again, it could be a small department, it could be an entire science building. Retail, national retailers and local retailers. Sometimes it's rollout work, multiple projects for the same client. Sometimes it's a one-off for a startup business that we're helping to create a brand identity. Corporate interiors, law firms, technology firms, cosmetic firms, insurance companies, and then luxury residential. We do a lot of high-end co-op and condo renovations as well as single-family homes.
Well, you guys are busy.
We consider ourselves very fortunate. We're a smaller boutique, low volume, high service firm. So we're not looking to be all things to all people. The clients that I think seek us out are because we give them a very high level of personal service. We cater our designs to their specific needs. And because we're more of a studio environment, we're fortunate in that we can seek the projects that really fit our wheelhouse.
So yeah, we were talking about space, and we're sitting here in Marc's new space here on East 45th Street in New York City. And it's really, really interesting to see such a great space done by such a creative guy. And then this is just an office, and you have all that other stuff that's going on that you mentioned, and it brings out design and different things that are going on in the marketplace now, new trends and stuff like that. What are some of the new trends that are happening out there in some of your clients?
I would say the biggest trend certainly in the institutional world, the healthcare world, the educational world, is flexibility. And the office world also, the corporate world as well. Nobody knows who's coming back to work, when they're coming back to work, what the space is going to require in the future. We had a meeting yesterday with a healthcare client we're doing 2 clinics for, and we're designing exam rooms and occupational and physical therapy space. But they said, hey, we don't know that this occupational and physical therapy program is going to continue. We don't know if the reimbursement's going to be there. Design it so we can convert it to exam rooms down the road. So it is all about flexibility. The educational environment is the same way. The office environment. Are people going to sit in workstations again? Are they going to sit at benching? Do they need more collaborative space? How many days a week are they coming back to the office? Nobody knows. So the space needs to be designed to be flexible. So to us, that's the theme that carries through virtually everything we do, including residential work, because everyone needs a home office now. Everybody's working at home at least part of the time. Somebody's child is going to grow up and go to college, and their room's going to be turned into the home office. So how do we
Mhm.
design it for that 5 years from now? So it's all about flexibility today.
It's very interesting. You know, as you were talking, I'm sitting here thinking about your father and your grandfather. And I wonder how much flexibility they had to design into things. You know, we don't think about it in those terms in 1922 all the way up to 61 when your father joined and all of that. It was probably in their wheelhouse as well back in those days that they had to convert spaces on occasion. Not as much, but it probably did happen.
I'm sure that there's never anything that's new. We're just re giving it new
Yeah,
names,
trying to do it better.
but I have no doubt that they had the same challenges that we have, and client needs. Maybe they were different needs at the time,
Mm.
but there's always some new need.
Yeah. Yeah. One challenge I'm sure that they had that goes through the 100-year history of the company is the challenge with clients and communicating with clients and getting them to communicate to you guys exactly what they want, not what they think they want, but what they actually want. Talk to me about drawing your clients into the process.
So we tell people that we're really good listeners. We don't impose our ideas. We actually put in our agreements that it's going to be a collaborative effort, that we're going to share our ideas, they're going to tell us what their ideas are, and together we're going to find the right solution. We're going to bring all of our experience, but we're not going to impose on them what we did for another client or what we think works for them. We're going to listen to them, and we spend a tremendous amount of time with all our clients, doesn't matter what market sector it is, listening to them. Today, everybody has a Pinterest board. Everybody has done research on the internet. Everybody comes to the first meeting with 1,000 ideas, some of which are completely impractical, but we listen to all of them. And it's our job to sift through all of them, to bring our experience to the table, and then figure out what the right approach is.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a newer phenomenon, you know, with the advent of the internet when you say things like Pinterest. But you struck on an interesting word of collaboration, you know, and as people who listen to this channel know, you know, I preach intergenerational communication and collaboration, and it kind of flows through your business as well. Whereas somebody who was a client maybe 30 years ago came to the table and said, I just want it to look like this. Whereas people now have done all that kind of research and everything, but at the end of the day, the listening skills are still the main thing. But what are some of the newer things you're finding with the newer generation of client that you're talking to? What things are they looking for?
I mean, there's certainly a focus on wellness. There's certainly a focus on sustainability. Though those words come up all the time, and they're important.
Sure.
It's important for us to explain to them the practical aspects of it, how you actually achieve it, what the real benefits are as opposed to what you might read on the internet,
Mm.
what the costs associated with it are, because all of those things come with a budget. But those are certainly buzzwords that we talk about all the time, and are certainly priorities, as they should be.
Yeah, we went through it when we redesigned our kitchen. My wife wanted to start doing composting.
Mhm.
And we had to convince her it wasn't really a good idea inside the house.
Yeah.
You know,
And I have a friend who does it inside the house, and you're right. It's not a good idea.
It's not a good
inside the house.
idea. And so it was very interesting as we talked to people about when we designed our kitchen that we took that out of play.
I mean, we talk about just from a sustainability and then the push toward electric. But the problem, like in our residential world, there's not enough power in the apartment building that was built 100 years ago to each unit to power the induction range, which is a great range, to power the electric dryer. And as much as people want it, as much as there's code mandates for it, there's also a practical application that we need to educate our clients so that ultimately they can make the right decision for them.
Right. By being good listeners and then turning it into practical advice, that creates the value. You know, you said we're not a high volume place. We're about value and bringing the kind of experience to people that they see they want. How are you managing your team here? You know, in the times that we're working, obviously it's changed a lot in the last 5 years. Never mind the last 100.
Yeah, I mean, we've always taken because we have a studio environment, we bring everybody into all aspects of the project. So we're not a firm that if you're a new hire and you're 25 years old just coming out of architectural school, you're going to spend the next 3 years doing elevator door buck details, and you're never going to see any other part of the project but that. We expose the entire project to you. We bring you into client meetings. We take you out to the job site. When shop drawings come in from the contractor for something that you designed or something that you worked on, you're going to review them because you're the most appropriate person to do it. I think what that does is it teaches people the profession.
Mm.
We have discussions with them about, we have a limited fee on this job, we have this many hours budgeted, this task needs to be finished in this amount of time,
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, and this is something my father taught me, and I'm sure his father taught him, we are not architects practicing business. We are business people practicing architecture. And at
Very
the end of
interesting.
the day, it's a business. And if we can't make a profit, if we can't pay our bills, then it's a hobby. It's not a business.
Hmm.
So we're creatives, and creative people tend to lose sight of the business end of things. We always keep that in the back of our mind. And our clients appreciate that because we look at our clients' money, and our clients entrust us with a lot of money. We look at it as if it's our own money.
Hmm.
So if we look at it as our own money, we're going to hopefully help our clients make the right decision on where it makes sense to spend a little bit more because there's value added, and where it doesn't. Ultimately, the decision is theirs. It's their money to spend, but
Hmm.
that's the advice we try to give them. But we like to get our employees involved in all aspects of the project. We've hired people while they're still in school as interns, and they've become full-time employees. And those are the best employees because they've learned the way we do things. They've experienced all aspects of the project, and they come up and they grow with us, and there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, that's really the thing. As you were going through all that, the word that came to my mind was siloing. You don't want to silo
No,
people into doing one or two things. You do want them to see being on a client, on a client site. You want to see how the numbers work. You want to see what the timeline looks like, so they can get a full flavor for it. And one of the things I talk about in my practice is, we're at a time of communication and accountability, and some of that's self-accountability.
sure.
And when you train and grow younger people like that in the business, they have a sense of self-accountability that ends up serving the firm.
No question. And young people today, the one thing they don't want to be is bored.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're bored, they're going to leave. And what we do is we don't put somebody on a project and say, for the next year, you're working on one project.
Mm-hmm.
We like to move people around. We like to, one of we're very fortunate in that we have large projects that will last several years, and we have small projects that will last several weeks or several months. And so we will take somebody that's working on a big hospital project, and they may spend 3 weeks on an apartment or a retail store. That refreshes their mind. They can get into the nitty-gritty detail as opposed to the big picture. Keeps them fresh, keeps them excited, gets them up in the morning. That's what gets me up in the morning. The fact that one night or one afternoon, I might be meeting with the board of directors of a healthcare institution talking about big picture issues. And the next night, I might be meeting with a husband and wife deciding where the silverware drawer is in the kitchen. I like that.
Yeah, the diversity of the experience.
Yeah.
Right? It's what gets us all out of bed in the
Yeah.
morning. We've known each other about 15 years now, and one of the things that I've always marveled at about you is how, yeah, you have an architect's head. You're cool, calm, and collected, but you're a smart business person. Like, you think about the numbers, and you think about the experience of the customer and the experience of the employee, and those are the things that probably made your grandfather successful, made your father successful, and you and your siblings are being successful.
I credit
doing
my
it.
father for 100% of that.
That's awesome.
He knew the business of architecture. He was a brilliant designer and satisfied the clients, but he treated it as a business. He knew all of the numbers. He knew how much time was being spent on every job. He knew how much time was left to be spent on the job. And he knew how to make money in the business because of the fact that he took the time to understand the business part of the practice.
And that's key, especially, as guys like you and I start to age out, and stuff. And you think about, like, what gets me up, what keeps me excited, what keeps the business going, how do I create a legacy, for people, and all of that. So it's great to hear you talk like that about him. What are some of the things that you're seeing in 2025 and beyond that you're excited about?
I mean, technology has always been important to us. And again, I keep going back to my father, but he was always at the forefront of technology. We got into AutoCAD and CAD long before most firms did. AI, everybody's talking about AI, but it will have a significant effect on our business. There will come a time, I believe, where you'll put into ChatGPT or whatever the next program is, the address of your property, and you'll get a full zoning study, and you'll tell it, I want a 40-unit apartment house with this many studios and this many one-bedrooms, and I want it to have a modern look. and it will spit out all that information. I don't think that's going to make me irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's still going to be clients out there who want something unique and specific to them, who listened to them, who heard what they had to say, and then reacted to it, as opposed to just gathering information from what other people did. But there's no question that technology is changing not just our profession, it's changing every profession.
It's changing everybody, but the technology doesn't change one thing. Who's the guy that's talking to the client about the knife drawer?
Exactly.
Right? The size, because AI will never know the
Yes.
size of your knife
The client
drawer.
may show me 17 different knife drawers that they found on the
100%.
internet, but ultimately I'm going to talk to them about which is the right one for them.
And there's a huge value in that, millions of dollars worth of value.
I certainly hope so.
So tell us where people can find you.
So our website is Landow-Architects.com. Office is on East 45th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. Phone number 212-772-7074. And my email, mjlandow@landow-architects.com. I mean, most of our work, fortunately, is referral based, word of mouth, existing clients referring us, people, colleagues referring us, trusted advisors referring us. We like to get involved in projects early on. I tell people, and I got yelled at by a mutual friend of ours who's an attorney, because I said that I'm always happy to take a meeting. I don't charge for it and give some free advice. And he said, oh, lawyers don't give free advice. We give free advice. I am happy to meet with somebody to look at their space, to look at their site, and give them some advice and point them in the right direction. I have a lot of friends who are contractors. I love my friends who are contractors. The worst thing any client can do is talk to the contractor before you talk to the architect.
100%.
Because the contractor doesn't know their specific needs. They don't know the specific codes. They're going to throw out a number, and now that number is stuck in the client's head, and I'm going to spend the next 3 years fighting that number, which was not the right number. So if they find us early, if they talk to us early, I tell them in the beginning, you don't need to pay me for that first meeting. That's part of my marketing budget, is to talk to you. If I get the job, wonderful. If I make a friend, that's fine too. If you hated my shirt and you don't want to work with me, that's okay as well.
Right.
I don't need every job. I just want the right jobs. But speak to me early.
Yeah, I think that's key, getting you involved in the process, because it saves so many headaches, it saves money, and really, it goes back to the word you used earlier about collaboration. If a client engages you, they should be a collaborative partner in what you do. And that really starts by getting you involved before the contractors, before anybody else, any zoning, anything else.
It doesn't matter if it's your home, everybody lives differently. If it's your hospital, every hospital runs differently. If it's your school, every school runs differently. I can't impose my ideas on you. I first need to understand how you live, how you work, how you operate, and then I can help you. And that's what we do. We're helping people.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, the phrase is overused. We do a consultative approach, but there are certain businesses like yours where it's required, and it sets you apart from other businesses, and it's what's made you guys successful for 100 years.
I think so. I mean, sometimes we're called into a project where the program's already been set, the decisions have already been made, and now, okay, we need an architect because the building department's not going to approve it without a seal and signature. If it's just a race to the bottom and it's a spreadsheet with the lowest fee and that's who's getting the job, that's not the job for us.
Right.
Because maybe we would have had an idea, instead of putting the department over there, you put it over there, and that will save you money. Maybe it'll just save you full-time employees not moving stuff from here to there. We can add value by having that discussion early on, and then they'll also see the value that, hey, their fee is actually worthwhile. A consultant years ago told us the life cycle cost of a building that might be up for 100 years, and everything you spend from the land to building the building to maintaining the building. The architectural fee is such a small piece of that it's a rounding error whether you pay 6% or 7% or 8% or 10%. Yet the decisions that the architect makes will affect all of the other costs associated with that building. So we tell people, sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. You don't choose your lawyer based upon the lowest fee. You don't choose your accountant based upon the lowest fee. Don't choose your architect based upon the lowest fee. Find somebody you trust, find somebody whose work you like, and work with them.
Yeah, it's not the cost, it's the value.
It's the value.
It's the value.
And at the end of the day, it's how can we add value?
Yeah, and I think your business is very much about, as a lot of businesses are, mine to a certain degree, how you make people feel.
Yeah.
Because that infinitesimal cost over time, it's a big how I feel cost.
It is.
And if people feel good over the long haul, then what they spent on your services fades away.
100%. If you had a good experience, you're not going to remember what you paid for. You remember you had a good experience.
Right.
You go to the theater, you saw a great show, you really don't remember what you paid for the ticket. You remember the experience.
100%. I'll remember this experience for quite a while.
As will I.
Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll look forward to seeing you again real soon.
Thank you.